Good morning. I think we're going live. Well, we had a really slow countdown this morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Isn't It Time Facebook Live show. I'm your host, Sally Thibault, and today we're talking about stress and the impact of stress on our bodies, the impact of stress on our lives, and why it's exceptionally important. If you want to turn the clock back, why you need to be focusing on your stress levels. So as you pop on this morning, say hi. I'm actually in a bit of a different program this morning, so just let me know that you can hear me. I was on a call yesterday and we were struggling to hear each other until I realized my earphones weren't plugged in. So as you pop on, say hi, good morning, and what's it like in your area today, in your neck of the woods in Queensland here on the beautiful Gold Coast? We're still slap bang damn in the middle of summer, even though it's 23rd of March. We're still. Good morning, Donnie. Yeah, hot and steamy in Brisbane, hot and steamy here on the Gold Coast too. It's I don't know where autumn is, but I don't mind. I am not going to complain. I love the summer. So good morning. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning. Yes, I love the summer. So I'm not fussed about looking forward to the winter. I don't mind, dressing up in, boots and tights and stuff like that. But I still love my summer weather. So I hope you're all good wherever you are. It's been a very weird week. Let me know if you've had some very kind of strange things happen this week. As we were out for dinner last night and we were talking about Mercury in retrograde, and so many people that I know have been, in my area that do videos and webinars, and they were really talking about how things weren't going right this week. Technical issues all over the place. And then, of course, we had the full moon. And then we had what we call our autumn equinox. And so there's a lot of people kind of, really stressed. And that's the reason I kind of picked this topic this week. I felt a lot of stress. So just let me know if you've noticed that this week is that there has been, have you felt stressed, overwhelmed? I got very emotional on Wednesday. I'm missing my mum. My mum's been dead for 32 years. And I just had this overwhelming, sense of need my mum. And I can tell you, when I did that, I found some Vegemite in the back of the fridge. Nothing like going back, you're Australian when you're stressed when you want Vegemite on toast. So I'm still alive, even though Vegemite's about 4 years old. So let me know, what's the week been like for you this week? If you noticed anything different, it seemed to have happened. I know for a number of my clients, it seemed to start last weekend, and then it just kind of built and peaked, bang, and then it's kind of tapered off, and we're all good again. So that's what the topic for today is. It's about dealing with stress. Now, as it turns out, I've been doing quite a bit of research in the last little while about turning back the clock. Is it possible to actually reverse the aging process? Now, what's really interesting, as I've mentioned to you on many of these calls, when I wrote the 2 and 20 principle, Wednesday was the day. Wednesday was the day for Vegemite. Yeah. What was it? Donna, it was just amazing. I haven't felt like that in the longest time. Really thank goodness for all the things that I do, tapping, meditation, working out, all that stuff, because, wow, I had, my back was really sore this week, then I ended up with a really sore shoulder. It's all fine now, but it's all kind of part of it, that body. Yeah. Oh, Tracy, yeah, been very stressed. We had a crazy day yesterday, dropping everything I touched, ended up very nearly in tears. Well, you're not alone, Tracy. That's what's really interesting, is that we're not alone. Hello, Kathleen. Good morning. Good morning. I'll be down your neck of the woods this next week. In fact, next week, the Isn't It Time Facebook Live show will be coming from Melbourne. So I'll be in Melbourne next week, celebrating my dad's birthday. But yeah, Tracy, it's been just the weirdest week. And as I mentioned before, many of my clients going through the same thing. So hopefully it's all over. Thank goodness for tapping is all I can say. Tapping and meditation. Honestly, when it gets to that, that's the thing that we need to work on. It was just because, stress it's not what happens to you, it's how you handle it. So there must have been some very, very strange energies going on. So we're going to be talking about that today. That's the topic of the conversation. And Trish, can we all point to the full moon? Yes. The full moon, Trish, I think the full moon I didn't even see this time because we had so much cloud. Full moon, but it was doozy. They called it the super worm moon or something. I don't know what that meant. I didn't have time. I was too busy eating my Vegemite and toast to figure out what the worm was. And it was funny. We've got a little secret Facebook group, my family, and I just popped in there. Oh, this really felt like Vegemite and toast. And my sisters all went, oh, me too. That's my comfort food. That's what I go to. I'm so pleased. I don't know what. Anyway, thank goodness for Digest Zen, the doTERRA oil Digest Zen. So I was able to heal any of the stuff about eating all that yeast and bread. And yes, we are back on track though. Let's do this today. Let's do this. Rightio, let's talk about stress. So the issue with stress, as you know, is that often we're stressed and we don't even know it. But the thing is, our body always does. That's the thing. Our body is our key indicator about stress. Now, what's happening now is that stress, chronic stress as they call it, is becoming one of the biggest challenges of our time. Let me just collect. I'm just having something funny going on here. The biggest challenges of our time is stress. And the issue is that when we're stressed, the body releases cortisol and adrenaline in order for you to do something. That's the stress response. So back in the claw and fang jungle days, we were supposed to do something when we were stressed or we were in fear. And that was, fight, get angry and do something, kill that whatever it was going to eat you. Flight, run, you had to run to get out of the way. Or freeze, just play dead. Now, what happens when that happens is that the blood flow leaves the frontal lobes of the brain. It goes to the arms and the legs. So the blood flow is pumped to the arms and legs in order for you to do something. That's what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to actually do something. But we don't. That's the trouble. We don't do anything. When we're stressed, we sit in it. And while all those stress hormones are flowing around the body, the impact on the body tries to fight it through inflammation. Now, there's a lot of talk lately about inflammatory foods and inflammation as being cause of much of our health issues, heart disease, chronic pain, weight gain, sleep issues, things like fibromyalgia, those chronic illnesses, to do with inflammatory issues in the body. So the body's natural response when there's a problem like an infection is to create inflammation. So when you have an infection, the glands swell up, and that's to fight it. What happens is that we don't do anything about it. And in actual case, what we do is, most of us, when we're stressed, like I was on Wednesday, we reach for something that's going to, in the short term, think we're going to make us feel better. So we'll reach, like as I did on Wednesday, a piece of toast and Vegemite, both highly inflammatory foods for me. Yeast and who knows what they put in their Vegemite stuff. It's yummy though. Every 3 years that I eat it. And bread, gluten, is highly inflammatory. Butter is dairy, highly inflammatory. So when we're stressed, we're going to reach oftentimes for foods that are highly inflammatory, adding already to the inflammation in the body. Now, the problem with that, again, is that it then impacts on our telomeres. Telomeres are the small little, like they call them like little caps on the end of shoelaces. These are the caps that sit on the end of our DNA and designed to help us, our cells to regenerate. The more stress we're under, and we're not exercising, we're not calming that stress, we're eating foods that cause it, is that the telomeres begin to shorten. They start to kind of slow down a little bit. They can't regenerate. And that's where the aging process comes from. Now, the problem with this is that it's almost like you're always starting from the baseline, behind the baseline, because if you're not kind of doing things that are helping those telomeres and your cells to regenerate, you're causing that problems with your body. So for me this week, I felt my back was really sore all week. I don't know what I did, but it told me it had nothing to do with anything other than feeling stressed. And then it went to my shoulders. And I know when that happens, when the pain is moving around the body, that's stress. In fact, most issues at the bottom line are stress, because when we're stressed, if we not thinking about things, and you, like my husband did, ran into a cupboard last night because he wasn't thinking. The door was open, didn't see it. He's okay, but got a great big cut on his eye. But what's really interesting is there's certain groups of us who have higher stress levels than others. And there was an interesting 2004 study that showed mothers raising children with severe illnesses, and I'm going to add into that disability, had a biological age 10 years older than their chronological age. So if you are in particular, I think this impacts on a lot of women who are not only carers for our kids, and we go through all the teenage stuff, worrying where they are, all that stress levels. But many of us now are in roles of caring for elderly parents, or you may be in a role when you're caring for a partner, and that those stress levels on you are incredibly high, and that's going to impact on the telomeres, the telomerase that's not able to regenerate. So that's why it's so incredibly important to actually monitor your stress levels. And it's not about pretending they're not there. That's not it. The challenge is getting to the belief set that's causing it. We had dinner last night with some young guys, they're in their late 30s, early 40s. And one of the guys is from Kuwait, which was really interesting. He was born just after the Kuwaiti War. And we were talking about the trauma trapped in the land. And what was interesting about it, well, we were talking about the stress levels of people who grow up in countries where there's been trauma, because there's a lot of research now about adverse child experiences, the ACE studies, trauma that's passed down from the generations through the sperm and through the ovum, that's trapped in the body. So when you're stressed, you're holding on to that stress. You're just not impacting on you, but it's actually, you could be carrying some of your grandmother's stress and beliefs. So it's incredibly important, I believe, these days for us, and many of you are women listening to this call, to really work on our stress and our beliefs, because that kind of, which I've talked a lot about, the heart resonance, right? The Heart Math Institute research study that showed that our heart resonance resonates out about a meter from us. So what you're feeling creates an energy, and when people step into that energy, they feel it. Now, if you come up and you meet somebody and they've got a weird energy and you kind of step back a little bit, you want to step out of their energy. Or if you walk into a room where two people have been arguing and they stop talking and you can feel that energy in there. So that's our energy. So you're carrying that stress. You're actually impacting on others around you, and in particular, our closest people to us. And what it does is, of course, impact on our weight, also, especially belly fat. High levels of cortisol often are linked to large layers of belly fat. And that's because the body stores the energy. Remember, I talked about the flight, fight, and freeze response before. Blood flow goes to the arms and legs in order to do something. The body holds energy in order to give you energy to do something. When we don't do something physical, and we do, reach for the glass of wine or the Vegemite on toast, we're actually compounding that whole thing. So if you're struggling to lose weight at the moment, if you've been doing lots of things and you're struggling to lose weight, it could very well be your stress levels, your chronic stress levels, the stress levels you're still carrying from relationship breakdowns, the stress levels you're still carrying from caring for elderly parents, or if you, as in my case, raised a child with a disability, that you still carry some of that stress. I showed on the webinar last week the two images of me, 2011 and 2019, and one of the things that really rung home to me was the age, how different I looked age-wise. My 2011 self was extremely stressed still. I'd come out of a very stressful job after, all the challenges of raising a young man living with autism and, two other new NT children. and all that stuff that goes along with that. So I had to begin at that point. I only realize now when I'm looking back on that to revisit what I am, to return, reverse the aging person. Exactly, creating oxidative stress. It's exactly right, Tracy. And the thing about it is that for many of us is that we're like frogs in the pot. And for those of you who don't know the analogy of the frog in the pot, if you had a pot of boiling water, try to put a frog in it, jump right out again. But if you sit a frog in a pot of cold water and you gradually turned up the heat, the frog would just sit there. And that's what we do. We don't recognize, I believe, sometimes until it's too late, the impact on our bodies by high stress levels. Let me know if you are any ahas here about stress and the impact on your body. Whenever you feel pain, whenever you feel tired, oh yes, Kathleen, absolutely. Holocaust survivors, yeah, absolutely, and families too, yeah. And that generational stress, absolutely. And that's what with a conversation with those young men last night, very switched on young guys. Gosh, they were fabulous to have a conversation with. They were talking about that. They were talking about the issues in that Middle East, that whole, you feel that intergenerational stress and trauma that many of the kids, their generation, are still trying to heal. And it's fascinating conversations with these switched on young men. God, I love that. When you're talking about stress and trauma and, past lives, and it was great fun. But yeah, really interesting stuff. So we actually carry that stress in our bodies. And as I said, a lot of the work now in genetics, in fact, led by people like Dr. Bruce Lipton, Biology of Beliefs, is looking at that impact of the stress and trauma we carry in our own bodies. So sometimes you're carrying stress and trauma that's not even yours, but it's your responsibility to clear it. And that's the beautiful thing we have about EFT. So I want to get on quickly to the critical role actually that the 2 and 20 principle plays in this, because it's not a one-size-fits-all model. The 4 pillars of the EFT, of the 2 and 20, are spirit, sustenance, strength, and success. So the 4 pillars have to work together. You can't be focused on just one. The issue is that we move forward as a whole human being. And if you are not focused on one area of your life, whether that's spirit, so that's your internal you, the inner you, the sustenance, which is the food that we eat, how we nourish our bodies in all sorts of different ways, strength, and that's working physical strength as well as emotional strength, and then success. So how do you get through the day, be productive? It's no good sort of, being calmed and chilled at home, but you're really stressed at work. You get overwhelmed by the amount of work you do. So the 4 things have to work together. And there's no one size fits all model. That's the thing. And what I've discovered in these years of kind of working in the fitness industry and life coaching and education is that there's things that come and go, but there's things that work are the ones you'll keep doing. And I'll reverse that. The ones you do will be the ones that work. So we're going to tap now on some stress. But I want for this week, if you're struggling with stress and you really want to heal it, in particular weight and the aging issues, if you're feeling like you are older than you really are, look older, feel older, chances are it's because you have this oxidative stress in your body. What am I going here? Where am I going? I'm going to paste that up. There's the link. If you want to have a chat with me, a 30-minute strategy session, I can see if and how I can help you. Can do that. Let me just go through some of the comments and make sure I've answered everybody. I put up twice. Sorry. Donna, yeah. Totally being previous generations. Yes, lives into our current realm. Absolutely. Have a little belly fat due to past stress, didn't connect the two. Yeah, great, Kathleen. I've had stress and the body challenges for past years due to circumstances similar to what you're discussing. Wow. Yeah, absolutely, Donna. And that's the thing is that we don't realize we have the stress. As I mentioned, that's the problem with us is that we We sit in it. I know, and I'm going to speak quite personally here, with my son, those years of not knowing. In fact, I had a really, really fascinating conversation yesterday with a young lady who's questioning whether her son should be diagnosed. She was asking, he's a little boy. And I got talking about those years, and I'm listening to her speak, and I'm listening to what she's going through and the stress in the household. And I was thinking to myself, gosh, I remember that. I remember those days when life was so stressful. But the thing as I'm going to say woman and a mother and a wife here, is that we get on with it. We tend to put ourselves back and we just get on with it. We soldier on because we have to. The kids still have to be, woken up in the morning, and the shoes have to go on, and the lunches have to be made, and they still have to get to school, and the bills still need to be paid. So, I often talk to young mums, and, especially young mums who are raising children living with autism now, they hear this whole thing about self-care, and they, it's just such an oxymoron, because how do you take time for yourself when your world's in turmoil? You've got 3 kids or 4 kids and money issues and dealing with the stress of school system. It's very, very difficult. And so but the thing is to look at your body. It will never lie to you, ever. Body never, ever lies. Your mind might lie to you, but your body won't. So if you're carrying extra weight, you're carrying extra pain in your body, Kathleen, this might be good for the work that you're going to be doing too with that pain management program. If you're working in that area, or you're working with clients, is to look at their bodies. Let them talk about your bodies. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Hang on. Oh, for some reason I can't get you. Oh, there it is. Right. This is great, Donna. Let me just respond to this. While things are quite stressful, even more so in the past 6 months, I'm working on the removal of stress with actions, areas of love, just creating more peace. Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah, exactly. It's like we have to recognize this. The impact on the healthcare system over the next 20 years is going to be phenomenal. And one way or the other, we're going to pay for it. Either we pay for it personally, or we're going to pay for it out of our own pockets. I had a great discussion on Facebook with a colleague from many, many years ago when he was my very first fitness mentor. And we were talking about the challenges with the weight loss industry in particular, because or out to lunch, I think. My thing is, unless you're dealing with the emotional issues around why we do what we do, nothing will work with weight loss. It's because it's never about the food. There's more information we've got now, in our generation now, more information about food, health and wellness, weight loss, stress management, everything. You don't have to Google it. You don't have to find it. You don't have to go anywhere to the library. You find it, Google it, you find it. Why don't we do it? It's because we're stressed. It's because that issue is sitting deeply within us. So that's the challenge for us, is to stop thinking about our bodies as being separate to us. Our body reflects all the time what's going on for you. That stress I felt this week manifested in an incredibly painful back and shoulder. And wake up on Thursday morning, I couldn't move my shoulder. I couldn't. It was so painful. Somebody had. So okay, what weight am I bearing? Where am I feeling like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders? So then, I just go to tapping, because that's where I'm going to find it. And it was interesting. I found a 40-year-old pattern that I've been carrying for 40 years. That's sad. You think like that's the last generation. You realize it's me, 40. I've been carrying something for 40 years. Oh my God, that's me. But I had to get rid of it. And when I got rid of it, guess what? The pain went. Guess what? I have more energy. Guess what? I've woken up with a very different view of life. But that whatever went on this week, man, it was intense. And so the issue isn't what happens to you, it's how you handle it. So, all right, let's do some tapping, shall we? Yeah. Oh, absolutely, Kathleen. Yes. For those, Kathleen is a colleague from Melbourne, and I'm just trying to get up, Kathleen. and she runs pain management groups for University of the Third Age. Yeah. Emotions were the big thing, largely ignored by doctors. Absolutely. That's the issue. We need to retrain them. Come on, ladies, we can do this. I know some fabulous doctors. In fact, working a wonderful, wonderful woman a week ago who is a doctor, and wow, the things she's doing is just extraordinary. So there are people within the medical community, but a little slow and moving. But well done, Kathleen. That's awesome. Emotions, big thing. Alrighty, let's do some tapping. I'm going to run out of time. Just make sure everybody's still with me. If you're struggling with particular stress in any areas I mentioned, and you'd really love to have a chat with me, that strategy session link is below. Book in for a chat. I've only got a few spots left this week. I'm all over the place this week, out and about. And so I want you to think of an area of your life at the moment that you're experiencing particular levels of stress. And I want you to feel where it is in your body. Critical that you can feel where this is in your body. Back, lower back, shoulders, might have a headache. Might be in your gut area. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is that stress about something? Relationships, weight, money, business. What's the stress? Okay, how does it make you feel? Stress. Alrighty, let's go. Here we go, tapping. Even though I feel this stress in my body, it's about a level, whatever it is, I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though I feel this overwhelming stress sometimes, in particular this week, I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though I feel this stress in my body, and it's about a level I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Tap. This stress, this overwhelming stress, feeling this stress in my body, this stress, feeling this stress, this stress in my body. Sometimes it just overwhelms me. This stress, all this stress, this stress trigger, this stress, my stress. Sometimes this stress is just overwhelming. All this stress, feeling stressed. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Okay, let me know. Did that shift for you? I can feel this kind of peace. Peace, that's what I love. So the issue then becomes, remember what we do on this show, we're only tapping when to just take the intensity off. So now the thing is to get beyond that, underneath it. What's causing the stress? What's the pattern that's running underneath it? Remember, it's all about the patterns, all about your level of belief about something. And it always comes down, usually, value and worth, usually. So where is this happening? Oh, Jana, that's interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Ooh, you must have shifted something. I tell you, I got really teary on Wednesday. Oh my goodness. A little bit of release. Yeah, good. Good. That's what we're looking for, that little bit of... Now, see, let me just explain how tapping works. I want to be very specific about it. Some people don't kind of explain what it is. So when you feel that release, or Janet, when you feel that teariness, and I feel that calmness, what happens is the cortisol level lowers. Your cortisol level begins to drop. And when that happens, you began to be able to think more clearly. So memories will come up. That's what you're looking for, remember. We're looking for memories. We're looking for patterns. We're looking for things that happen. As I hit on that 40-year-old pattern that I didn't even know I had, but it was brought about by the whatever energy was this week, crazy stuff. If I hadn't found that pattern and ignored it, that pain in my back would have probably continued, and I would have gone to, chiropractor or physio, because da-da-da-da. But because I found the pattern, was able to release the emotional intensity behind it, the body let go of the stress and the strain. That's how we're working at this. So that's what tapping does. Lowers that cortisol level so you can think, you can go find the emotion, go find the pattern. The job is for you is to continue to do it. It's not, you just don't do this once off. It's got to be done all the time. And it was interesting last night with these young guys just talking about that. One of the guys was smoking, and he said, I really want to give up, da-da-da-da. And he was talking about it, and he said something, and I said, there he is right there. And he looked at me and he went, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. That's exactly why I smoke. It's not about the cigarettes, remember. It's not about the cigarettes. It's not about the pain. It's not about the weight. It's the reason why it's there. It's the reason why you do it. We're focusing on the wrong thing all the time. So let's do a reframe run. Oh, no. I got more issues than... Oh, wow. Denise, I got... Fantastic. That's awesome. Yeah. Yep. Terrific. Yeah, it's finding that issue. All right, let's do a quick reframe because we're right at the top of the hour. So let's do a couple... Oh, sound like right at the top of the hour. My BBC voice. Let's do some reframe, shall we? Really important for the reframe. Usually, if you're tapping on your own, you won't do the reframe until that level of intensity gets down to a 2 or less. Okay, this was a 10, now it's a 2, but you've got to keep tapping until you get down there. All right, here we go. Reframe around quickly. Even though I feel some release from this stress, I choose to embrace the lesson and move on. Even though I know this stress is causing pain in my body, I choose to honor my body by releasing the pattern. Even though I've felt this stress for a while, I choose to honor my body and my worth. Tapping. I choose to honor me. I choose to find the pattern. I choose to give myself permission to feel this. I choose to honor my body. I choose to listen to my body. My body always tells me what's going on. I choose to forgive myself for not listening to my body in the past. I choose to honor and value my body. Okay, just take a deep breath. Okay, any last questions before we end today? I know we're on a bit of a delay, so when you guys are typing questions, it might take a while for me to get it. So, and I noticed last week when I finished, there was questions that came in after the show. So I will go back in later if you've got a question, I haven't answered it. But again, that strategy session, if you're interested in having a chat to me, how you can really turn that clock back. Let's turn the clock back, shall we? Just let me know. Book in for a strategy session. I'd love to see if and how I can help you really release that stress to live a fabulous life, the life you're meant to. We are the leaders of the world at the moment, people. And I just quietly would all like to all hail Jacinda Ardern at the minute, because she is standing up for what is truly valuable, and she's a leader for our time. She truly, truly is, and that's where we're heading in this world. We are heading to that. Morning, Elle. We're heading to that. We're heading to a different leadership model, and it's got to come from us. We are the, for many of us on the call, anybody over the age of 50, for those on the call, we're the wise women. We're going to be the ones that are going to help change the world by holding the space. I'm really passionate about this, holding the space for our kids and holding the space for the world. Yeah, Donna, she is amazing, isn't she? Thanks, Elle. You watched the replay. Cool. She isn't, and she just doesn't play by the rules. Just, I'm going to ban guns. I don't care what you say. I'm just going to do that. Oh my God. She's just terrific. She is just terrific. Yep, she is. And I think, anyway, I could go on and on about her. She certainly is. I think she'll end up winning the Nobel Peace Prize this year. I've got a feeling. She's amazing. Incredible woman. And it was lovely. Her husband posted, I don't know if anybody saw it. He posted, who was their daughter's, was 9 months old yesterday, and the same day her mum made New Zealand a safer place by banning automatic weapons. I thought, wonderful woman. All right, everybody. Great. Yes, she's fabulous. All righty. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And let's just calm the farm, shall we? Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy whatever you're doing. And I look forward to coming to you live from Melbourne next week for the Isn't It Time Facebook Live show. Thanks for being with me. See you next week. Bye.